Hi everybody, this video is about the last of the special quizzes and happens to be the final quiz in the course as well. This quiz is on exercise 2-6, which is on page 55 in our text. And in order to help you get ready for it, I'm going to take you inside the quiz itself. You will see that the quiz has a description which is, I just popped that description on, hadn't been on. This quiz involves providing answers to most of the prompts in exercise 2-6, some modified as I will discuss in this lecture video. So this gives you background, and actually I'm going to just show you the questions. You can then go back to this as much as you need to get ready before you launch into the quiz, because it's a response quiz, so it's not objective. So the very first question says, sorry, I can't. Here we go. Respond to number 1 from exercise 2-6 on page 55. So I'll take you to number 1. So number 1 says, what is the difference between an induction by enumeration and analogical reasoning? Provide an example not mentioned in the text of each. So first off, the 3 response questions on this quiz. The first one is 4 points. So it kind of has 4 parts. This part, first half, and then the example of each. So a couple of points for this, a couple of points for this. The example not mentioned in the text, that is, come up with your own, think of one, or try to come up with, find a place that can help you think about it. Obviously, you don't want to, this is supposed to be your own thinking in order to do this. So that's the first question. I'll show you the text here in a minute after I go over the questions. The second question is, again, a 3-point response. Provide an example not mentioned in the text of a higher level induction. You should explain how and why it is a higher level induction. Part of your example. Make your example as concrete and well defined as you can. So this is the second half of number 3 from exercise set 2-6, and I will show you that here. So that comes from here. As I said, make sure that it's a different one than what's in the text. Again, I'm going to show you the text area here as well in a minute. And then the third question comes directly out of the, I quote the text on page 48. I'll show it to you here. This long quote comes from page 48. After saying this, talking about the complexity of induction, book gives an example of the complicated nature of this particular example of cigarettes causing cancer, and they describe why, and how it's complicated. So using that as a model, come up with your own example of complicated inductive reasoning from causal connections, and explain those complications as concretely as you can. So that's the third one. Again, this is the quiz. So in order to elaborate a little further, again, so the only one that's being ignored here is number 2, because instead I used that example from page 48. So And to go there again, this pretty much begins on page 45. So let's take a quick look. Section 7, or it talks about enumerative induction and tells us that enumerative induction works from the fact that we've observed all A's to be or have B, therefore all A's whatsoever are B's. So we enumerate, continue to count, everything fits that mold, so the next one will. So it says here, one definite counterexample shoots down an enumerative induction. And then they go on to discuss analogy, which is again the difference between these two is what you're being asked in question 1 of the quiz. Statistical induction is not covered on the quiz, but obviously something we see a lot of. Higher level inductions. Again, higher level inductions as basic definition are inductive reasoning that overrules, it says here, a lower level conclusion because of what we know about the nature of what will happen in the future, of how time will affect it, etc. Again, their example of a car running and what might happen to it. So you're in the second question on the quiz, you're to come up with one on your own that you can have some explanation of, that should be able to be expressed and explained in at least a few sentences. Causal connections. This is right here. This paragraph, these first few sentences are the quote from page 48. The inductive patterns discussed in this chapter are relatively neat and simple, etc. So that again is what their example of cigarette smoking here, and how it works in several different directions, and there's several complications. You're to come up with your own example that can show the complexity of something similar to that. And then concatenated inductions, again, not something that I'm covering on the quiz, so that pretty much gives you a feel, more than a feel, obviously, of what's on the final quiz, worth 10 points. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll keep you updated on grading as we finish out here in the next week and a half. All right, thanks.